My great coin enthusiasts, now we embark on a journey into the extraordinary world of one of the most fascinating and potentially valuable coins in modern American numismatics, the Liberty 1978 $quarter, a coin that on the surface may look ordinary, a coin that countless people pass through their hands every day, but one that in the right circumstances, with the right combination of minting errors, anomalies, and historical significance, can become worth a figure that defies imagination. $317 billion, and today we will explore why this is not just fantasy but a theoretical possibility, how a simple quarter minted in Denver in 1978 could transform into a coin so rare, so historically unique, and so emotionally powerful to collectors that its face value of 25 cents would be utterly dwarfed by the potential value it could achieve. And by the end of this video you will understand the intricate story behind the errors, the mistakes, the mint mark possibilities, and the incredible scenarios that make this coin so legendary. The year 1978 was a time when the Denver Mint was producing coins at astonishing rates. Millions of quarters were struck to meet national circulation needs, and the machinery was operating at extreme speed, high pressure, and mechanical repetition, which created the perfect environment for errors to occur, because even a slight variation in die alignment, planchet placement, or mint mark punching could result in coins that were visually or mechanically different from the standard issues, and those differences are what drive the value of rare coins, because collectors prize imperfection, they chase mistakes, they seek anomalies, and when you combine historical importance with rarity and mistakes, you create a formula that produces coins whose value is no longer bound by ordinary market expectations. And this is exactly what makes the 1978 quarter so fascinating, because it sits at the intersection of high production and opportunity for imperfection. Let's first consider the most common but impactful error, the doubled die obverse, which occurs when the hub and die are slightly misaligned during preparation, creating duplicated images on the obverse of the coin. Imagine the word Liberty appearing with thick doubled lines. Imagine the date 1978 clearly showing separation between the numbers. Imagine Washington's profile exhibiting doubled contours around the eyes, nose, and chin. This is not just a minor flaw but a strong visual doubling that collectors instantly recognize, and when doubling is bold, widespread, and dramatic, it exponentially increases the value of the coin, because bold doubled die coins are inherently rare, and when they occur on a first or early Denver Mint strike, they are even more valuable because they carry historical significance as an unusual production variation. Now consider the mint mark, the small yet powerful letter D stamped on the coin during die preparation, a letter that can make or break the value of a coin, because in 1978 the mint mark was manually punched on the working die, and manual punching opens the door to a variety of rare anomalies: repunched mint marks, tilted or rotated mint marks, inverted mint marks, shadowed or doubled mint marks, and even shallow or deeply engraved mint marks are possible. Imagine finding a 1978 quarter where the D has a faint ghost image behind it from a prior punch, or is slightly misaligned or doubled. This immediately elevates the coin into a higher rarity category, because mint mark errors are historically sought after, and their scarcity multiplies their value, especially when combined with obverse doubling. Imagine now a die crack slicing across the obverse, a lightning-like fracture formed by a stressed die used to strike thousands of coins. This crack could run across Washington's profile, his neck, or the rim, or even through the motto "In God We Trust." Each crack is unique, each represents a moment in the minting process frozen in metal, and when combined with obverse doubling and a mint mark anomaly, it forms a layered error that is exponentially rarer than any single error alone. And layered errors are exactly the type of coins that drive speculation to extreme heights, because collectors know that such coins are one of one, and uniqueness always commands the highest premium. Next, imagine an off-center strike which occurs when the coin blank is not perfectly seated in the collar during the strike. The result is a partial design shifted to one side with a crescent of blank metal showing on the other side. Imagine a 10%, 20%, or even 40% off-center strike while still keeping the date readable and details visible. This alone could make the coin extremely collectible, but combined with doubling, a repunched mint mark, and a die crack, it becomes an extraordinarily rare specimen, a once-in-a-lifetime find, the type of coin that collectors dream about, because rarity alone cannot always explain collector behavior. When a coin appears visually spectacular or historically unique, the market reacts emotionally and prices surge beyond reason and imagination. Adding to this, Consider a broad strike error which occurs when a coin is struck without the retaining collar that normally shapes its edges. This creates a coin that is wider, flatter, and often lacks the normal reading of the quarter. It is an immediately recognizable anomaly that attracts attention simply by appearance, and when a broad strike is combined with doubling, mint mark errors, and die cracks, it forms a multi-error masterpiece that is both rare, visually dramatic, and historically fascinating. And these types of coins become legend almost instantly because they visually stand out, and the rarity of the combination makes them historically important. As well, we can also imagine missing clad layer errors where the outer nickel layer of the quarter fails to adhere to the copper core, leaving the coin partially or completely exposed in copper color on one side. Imagine a 1978 quarter with a copper obverse and normal silver reverse, or vice versa. This two-tone appearance is instantly collectible, and collectors pay significant premiums for such missing layer coins, especially when combined with doubling and mint mark anomalies and strike misalignments, because multiple errors must occur at different stages of production, which drastically reduces the number of possible examples, making each surviving coin extraordinarily valuable. Wrong planchet errors are another layer of extreme rarity. Imagine a quarter struck on a planchet intended for a penny or another foreign coin, or even a slightly different alloy composition from the regular Denver blanks. These errors are spectacular because they create coins that physically deviate from expected size, weight, and metallic composition. Imagine finding a 1978 quarter struck on a foreign planchet with a visible Denver mint mark and full obverse doubling. This would instantly become a one-of-a-kind coin because the probability of such an occurrence is astronomically small, and collectors would consider it priceless. Now envision rotated die errors where the obverse and reverse of the coin are not aligned correctly. When flipped, the reverse appears rotated by 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 90 degrees, or even upside down. These rotation errors are rare, especially when dramatic and visually obvious, and when such a rotated die error coincides with obverse doubling. A mint mark anomaly, a die crack, a broad strike, or missing clad layers, the coin becomes nearly unique, creating a layered anomaly of historical and collector significance beyond what normal coins could ever hope to achieve. Die clash errors can add yet another remarkable feature. Imagine the hammer die and the anvil die striking each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly images of the reverse on the obverse and vice versa, faint shadows of the eagle or letters of the motto appearing where they should not be. Collectors prize die clashes for their ghostly imprint because they demonstrate a frozen moment of error that cannot be reproduced, and when a die clash appears on a coin already carrying multiple other anomalies, it transforms the coin from extremely rare to nearly mythical in collector circles, and collectors often bid astronomical amounts for such multi-layered rarities. Perhaps the rarest anomaly of all is a mule error. Imagine a 1978 quarter struck with a mismatched reverse intended for another denomination, or even for a foreign coin. The rarity and historical uniqueness of such a coin would be unmatched in modern minting history. Combined with doubling, a repunched mint mark, die cracks, off-center strike, and possibly broad strike, it would instantly enter the Hall of Legend, becoming one of the most significant coins ever produced, and the speculation around its value becomes almost limitless because only a handful of collectors in the world might even believe it exists, and if discovered, it could trigger an unprecedented auction battle. Collectors around the world pursue these types of errors, relentlessly examining old rolls of quarters, jars of mixed change, drawers forgotten for decades, and coin collections unearthed from estates, because the dream of discovering a 1978 quarter carrying multiple anomalies and layered errors is the ultimate numismatic adventure. The thought that one simple Denver quarter could combine doubling, repunched mint mark, die cracks, off-center strike, broad strike, missing clad layer, wrong planchet, rotated die, die clash, and potentially a mule error excites collectors beyond logic and drives the valuation to extremes far beyond what traditional coins achieve. And this is how speculation about a theoretical $317 billion valuation for a coin. My lovely viewers and coin enthusiasts, now we are diving deep into a story so extraordinary, so rare, and so fascinating that it turns a simple coin that you might overlook every single day into a treasure of unimaginable value. Today we are focusing on the Liberty 1979 quarter dollar, a coin that in its normal form has a face value of just 25 cents, but in the world of numismatics, when errors, mistakes, mint mark anomalies, and production oddities combine, this coin has the potential to become worth $315 billion. Yes, you've heard that right, $315 billion. And today I want to take you on a journey through the world of minting mistakes, anomalies, and collector possibilities that could transform this unassuming quarter into one of the rarest and most valuable coins in history. And by the end of this discussion, you will see exactly why collectors and investors alike are fascinated by this coin and why the dream of discovering a 1979 D. Liberty quarter carrying multiple rare errors is enough to drive some people into obsession. The Denver Mint in 1979 was operating at full capacity, producing millions of coins for circulation across the United States, and the machinery that strikes coins every day is powerful, fast, and extremely precise. Yet even the most advanced systems of that era were not immune to human error, mechanical anomalies, and imperfections in production. And when the slightest misalignment, a tiny variation in planchet placement, or a minor shift in die pressure occurred, the result could be a coin with imperfections so unusual that they became highly sought after by collectors. The 1979 D quarter is one such coin that exists in a production period with enough variability to allow for multiple types of errors, and when these errors accumulate in a single coin, they create what collectors call layered anomalies. And layered anomalies are exactly the type of coins that can theoretically reach extreme valuations. Let's begin by discussing one of the most visually striking types of error, a doubled die obverse. This happens when the hub used to create the working die shifts slightly during the die creation process, causing the letters, numbers, and features on the obverse to appear doubled. This is not surface wear or a result of striking, but a genuine duplication in the design elements itself. Imagine the word liberty showing thick shadow-like doubling. Imagine the date 1979 showing a subtle but clear separation between the numbers. Imagine Washington's face showing doubled contours around his nose, eyes, mouth, and jaw. These doubled images are the foundation of extreme rarity, because the stronger the doubling, the more collectors desire the coin, and when combined with other anomalies, its value increases exponentially. Now consider the mint mark, the small letter D applied to indicate the Denver Mint. This tiny mark can alone drastically influence a coin's value, because in 1979 the mint mark was still manually punched onto the working die before striking, and manual application opens the door to numerous errors: repunched mint marks, tilted or rotated mint marks, inverted mint marks, doubled mint marks, shadowed or unusually shallow or deep mint marks. All became possible, and when you find a 1979 D quarter where the D is slightly offset or faintly doubled behind the main D, collectors immediately recognize its rarity and understand that it is more valuable than the standard strike. And when such a mint mark anomaly coincides with a bold doubled die, the coin enters the category of layered error, and these are precisely the types of coins that can reach values no ordinary coin could ever achieve. Let's add another dimension to this coin: the die crack, a fracture in the die caused by repeated use over time that leaves unique lines running across the obverse or reverse. Imagine a crack stretching across Washington's profile, cutting through the rim, slicing through his neck, or even the motto, "In God We Trust." Every crack is unique and adds a fingerprint to the coin, a signature of the minting process at a very specific point in time, and when combined with obverse doubling and a repunched mint mark, the coin becomes a layered anomaly. Collectors understand that multiple simultaneous errors are far rarer than a single error alone, and this is why layered errors exponentially increase rarity and value. Next, imagine an off-center strike where the planchet was not perfectly positioned in the striking chamber. The result is a coin that is partially struck, showing a portion of the design shifted toward one side, leaving a crescent of blank metal on the other side. Imagine a 10%, 20%, or even 40% off-center strike with the date still visible and most design features recognizable. These coins are extremely desirable, and when such an off-center strike is combined with doubling, a repunched mint mark, and die cracks, it creates one of the rarest layered error combinations possible, a coin that could command attention from collectors worldwide because it is visually dramatic, historically rare, and mechanically complex. We can also consider broad strike errors where the coin is struck without the retaining collar, causing it to expand outward, producing a wider, flatter coin with no reading on the edges. These errors are visually striking and immediately recognizable, and when paired with obverse doubling, a mint mark anomaly, die cracks, and off-center strike, it becomes a multi-layered masterpiece that is nearly impossible to find, and when collectors recognize such a coin, they understand it could be one of a kind, making its theoretical value astronomical. Another layer of rarity comes from missing clad layer errors, in which the nickel outer layer of the quarter fails to adhere correctly to the copper core, leaving part of the coin's surface exposed in copper. Imagine a 1979 D quarter with a copper obverse and normal silver reverse. This creates a dramatic two-tone appearance that instantly attracts attention, and when combined with doubling, a mint mark anomaly, die cracks, off-center strikes, and broad strike features, the coin becomes exponentially rarer because multiple simultaneous failures must occur in different stages of production, an event so improbable that any surviving example is highly prized. Let's imagine wrong planchet errors where a quarter is struck on a blank intended for another denomination, or even a foreign coin during contract minting operations. These errors are particularly rare because they require a planchet from a different source to end up in the wrong press and be struck as a quarter. Now imagine a 1979 D quarter struck on such an unusual planchet with a bold double die, a repunched mint mark, and a die crack. This would create a layered anomaly of the highest order, one of a kind in the numismatic world, and instantly legendary. The rarity and historical significance of such a coin cannot be overstated. Now consider rotated die errors in which the obverse and reverse of the coin are misaligned. The reverse appears rotated by 30, 45, 90, or even 180 degrees when flipped. Rotated die errors are visually obvious and highly collectible when combined with doubling, a repunched mint mark, die cracks, off-center strike, and missing clad layer or broad strike. The coin becomes nearly unique, and layered errors like this represent the pinnacle of coin collecting because they combine mechanical anomalies, human error, and historical context, creating a perfect storm of rarity and desirability. Die clash errors can also contribute to this multi-layered anomaly. Picture, imagine the hammer and anvil dies striking each other without a planchet in between, leaving faint ghostly images from the reverse on the obverse, or from the obverse on the reverse, faint shadows of the eagle, or letters appearing where they should not be. Collectors value these die clash errors because they demonstrate a frozen moment of accident in the minting process, and when they are combined with the other errors discussed, this 1979 D quarter could possess a combination of visual, mechanical, and historical uniqueness that would make it essentially impossible to replicate. Perhaps the rarest possible anomaly of all is a mule error. Imagine a 1979 D quarter struck with mismatched dies for the obverse and reverse, perhaps the obverse intended for a quarter but the reverse intended for a different denomination, or even a foreign coin. The rarity and historical uniqueness of such a mule would place it among the most valuable coins in history if it exists, and if it were combined with a bold double die, a repunched mint mark, die cracks, off-center strike, broad strike, missing clad layer, and possibly even a rotated die, it would immediately become legendary among collectors, and its theoretical value could reach extreme heights because uniqueness combined with layered errors is the ultimate driver of numismatic valuation. Collectors around the world spend years searching for these types of coins, examining old rolls, jars of mixed coins, forgotten collections, and bank change because the dream of discovering a 1979 D quarter carrying multiple rare errors is a once-in-a-lifetime adventure. The possibility of finding a coin with doubling, repunched mint mark, die cracks, off-center strike, broad strike, missing clad layer, wrong planchet, rotated die, die clash, and even a mule error creates a scenario that is almost mythical in numismatic circles. And this combination of extreme rarity, historical significance, visual uniqueness, and mechanical anomaly is exactly what drives the hypothetical valuation to $315 billion, because no two coins would share the same combination, and collectors prize the story and uniqueness above all else. My dear viewers and coin enthusiasts, now we are about to embark on a journey into one of the most fascinating and potentially valuable coins in modern American numismatics, the Liberty 1980 D quarter dollar, a coin that most people see every day and take for granted, a coin with a face value of just 25 cents. But in the world of rare coins, this ordinary piece of currency has the potential to become an object of immense value, a coin that, under the perfect combination of minting errors, mistakes, anomalies, and mint mark variations, could theoretically be worth $310 billion. Yes, $310 billion. And today I want to guide you step by step through the world of minting errors, human mistakes, mechanical anomalies, and collector possibilities that could transform a common 1980 quarter into one of the rarest, most valuable, and historically significant coins in numismatic history. And by the end of this story, you will understand why collectors, investors, and coin enthusiasts across the globe are fascinated by this seemingly simple piece of metal. The year 1980 at the Denver Mint was a time of immense coin production. Millions of quarters were being struck every day to meet the demands of circulation across the United States, and the machinery used was fast, powerful, and precise. Yet even the most sophisticated machinery of that era could not eliminate all possibilities of error. Human involvement in mint mark punching, slight misalignments of the dies, variations in planchet thickness, and mechanical stress all created opportunities for minting mistakes and anomalies. And when such anomalies occur on coins from this era, they can elevate a quarter from a mere 25-cent piece to a coin of astronomical potential value. And this is exactly what makes the Liberty 1980 quarter dollar such an incredible subject for collectors, because it sits at the intersection of high production, human error, mechanical possibility, and historical interest. Let's first examine one of the most visually compelling types of mint errors, the doubled die obverse. This occurs when the hub used to create the working die shifts slightly during die preparation, producing duplicated images on the coin itself. Imagine the word Liberty showing thick shadow-like lines. Imagine the date 1980 displaying a subtle yet clear duplication between the numerals. Imagine Washington's profile exhibiting doubled contours around the eyes, nose, and jaw. This is not surface wear or a circulation anomaly. This is a genuine doubling in the design elements caused by a misalignment in the die itself. Bold, widespread doubling is rare, and when it occurs on a coin from 1980, it becomes immediately desirable. When paired with other anomalies, its value is multiplied exponentially, because collectors prize these bold, visually striking examples as one of the highest forms of minting uniqueness. Now let's focus on the mint mark, the small but crucial D stamped on the coin to indicate the Denver Mint. The mint mark may seem small, but it can completely transform the value of a coin. In 1980, the Denver Mint mark was still applied manually to the working dies before striking. Human involvement means human error is possible. Errors in the mint mark can include repunched mint marks, tilted or rotated mint marks, inverted mint marks, doubled mint marks, shadowed or unusually shallow or deep mint marks, and even ghosting from a previous punch. Imagine holding a 1980 D quarter and seeing a faint ghost D behind the primary mint mark, or noticing that the D is slightly offset or doubled. Collectors immediately recognize these anomalies as extremely rare and valuable, and when such a mint mark error coincides with a bold doubled die on the obverse, the coin becomes a layered anomaly. And layered anomalies are the coins that can reach extreme theoretical valuations because the combination of rare features is so unlikely that a surviving coin becomes virtually unique. Next, consider die cracks, a natural result of the repeated striking of coins over time. A die crack can stretch across the obverse, passing through Washington's neck, the rim, or even the motto "In God We Trust." Each crack is unique and represents a moment in the minting process frozen in metal. Die cracks combined with obverse doubling and mint mark anomalies create what collectors call layered errors. These layered error coins are exponentially rarer than single errors alone, and rarity in the numismatic world is the primary driver of value. Imagine finding a 1980 D quarter with a bold doubled die, a repunched mint mark, and a long, dramatic die crack running through the obverse. That coin is no longer a simple quarter, it becomes a unique artifact of minting history, one that could command attention from collectors worldwide. Off-center strikes are another dramatic type of error that can greatly enhance a coin's value. An off-center strike occurs when the planchet is not perfectly seated in the striking chamber, resulting in a coin whose design is shifted to one side with a crescent of blank metal showing on the opposite side. Imagine a 10, 20, or even 40% off-center strike while keeping the date visible and most design elements recognizable. Off-center coins of this type are highly desirable because they are both visually striking and mechanically unusual. When combined with doubling, repunched mint mark, and die cracks, the 1980 D quarter becomes a layered rarity of exceptional significance. These coins are not only unusual, they are nearly impossible to reproduce, which makes their potential value virtually unlimited. Broad strike errors add yet another layer of uniqueness. A broad strike occurs when the coin is struck without the retaining collar, causing the metal to expand outward and creating a wider, flatter coin, often without reeded edges. Broad strikes are immediately recognizable to collectors because of their visual impact. Now imagine a 1980 quarter that combines broad strike with a bold double die, repunched mint mark, die cracks, and a slight off-center strike. This coin is no longer merely rare, it is an extraordinary layered anomaly, one that could be considered one of a kind. Collectors understand that the more layers of error present on a coin, the rarer it becomes, and rarity is the single most significant factor influencing a coin's theoretical value. Another fascinating error possibility is a missing clad layer. Quarters are composed of a copper core clad with an outer layer of nickel. Occasionally, the nickel layer fails to bond properly to the copper core, leaving part of the coin's surface exposed in copper. Imagine a 1980 quarter with a copper obverse and normal silver reverse or vice versa. This two-tone appearance is visually dramatic and instantly collectible. When this missing clad layer is combined with a bold double die, repunched mint mark, die cracks, off-center strike, and broad strike, the probability of finding such a coin becomes astronomically small. Each surviving example is highly prized and could theoretically command extreme prices. We can also consider wrong planchet errors. A coin might be struck on a blank intended for another denomination, or even a foreign coin. During contract minting operations or occasional production mistakes, planchets from different sources could accidentally be introduced into the presses. Imagine a 1980 quarter struck on such an unusual planchet with a bold double die, repunched mint mark, and die crack. The rarity and uniqueness of such a coin would be extraordinary. Wrong planchet errors combined with multiple other anomalies create coins of extreme value because the likelihood of these events coinciding is astronomically low. Rotated die errors provide yet another fascinating dimension. If the obverse and reverse dies are misaligned, the reverse may appear rotated by 30, 45, 90, or even 180 degrees relative to the obverse. These rotated die errors are visually striking and highly collectible on their own. When combined with other anomalies, doubling, repunched mint mark, die cracks, off-center strikes, missing clad layers, and broad strike, the coin becomes nearly unique. Layered anomalies such as this are prized because they combine mechanical malfunction, human error, and historical production context, creating a coin that is both visually and historically significant. Die clash errors add further intrigue. These occur when the hammer die and anvil die strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving faint ghostly impressions of the reverse design on the obverse or vice versa. Collectors prize these ghost images because they represent a moment of accidental imprint frozen in time. Now imagine a 1980 quarter with a die clash, broad strike, missing clad layer, off-center strike, repunched mint mark, bold double die, and die cracks. The rarity of such a coin would be nearly unmatched, making it a potential candidate for one of the highest theoretical valuations in modern numismatics. Finally, we can consider the mythical mule error, the rarest and most sought after of all mint anomalies. A mule error occurs when the obverse and reverse dies are mismatched, perhaps combining the obverse intended for a quarter with a reverse from another denomination, or even a foreign coin. The rarity and historical significance of such a coin would be unmatched in modern minting history. If a 1980 quarter existed with a mule error, bold double die, repunched mint mark, die cracks, off-center strike, broad strike, missing clad layer, rotated die, and die clash. My dear history lovers, now I want to take you on an extraordinary journey into the world of rare coins and minting anomalies, a journey where a seemingly ordinary coin that most people pass by every day can transform into an object of unimaginable value. Today we are exploring the Liberty 1981 quarter dollar, a coin that in everyday circulation carries a face value of just 25 cents, but in the world of numismatics, when the right combination of minting errors, mistakes, and mint mark anomalies align, this coin has the potential to reach a value of $309 billion, yes, $309 billion, and throughout this video we will explore in incredible detail why this coin is so special, how these errors occur, why collectors crave them, and how multiple layered anomalies can turn a simple 1981 p quarter into a one-of-a-kind numismatic masterpiece that could theoretically achieve astronomical worth. The Philadelphia Mint in 1981 was operating at a high production rate. Millions of quarters were struck daily to satisfy the nation's circulation needs, and while the minting machinery was advanced for its time, it was still subject to human involvement and mechanical imperfections. Slight misalignments of the die's, variations in planchet thickness, fluctuations in striking pressure, and manual mint mark punching all contributed to the possibility of errors during production, and this is where the magic of collecting begins, because even small anomalies can make a coin significantly more desirable. When these anomalies are combined, the result is a layered error coin, one that becomes exponentially rarer and much more valuable than a coin with a single anomaly. And this is exactly the case with the Liberty 1981 p quarter dollar, which sits at the intersection of high production volume, historical context, and multiple error possibilities. Let's begin with one of the most visually striking anomalies, a doubled die obverse. This error occurs when the hub used to create the working die shifts slightly during preparation, creating duplicated images on the obverse itself. Imagine the word Liberty showing thick shadow like doubling. Imagine the date 1981 displaying subtle but unmistakable separation between the digits. Imagine Washington's face with doubled contours around the eyes, nose, and jaw. This is not surface wear or circulation damage. This is a genuine misalignment in the die itself, and bold widespread doubling is extremely rare. When combined with other anomalies, it creates layered errors that collectors prize above nearly all other types of minting mistakes, because rarity and visual impact drive value in ways ordinary coins can never match. Now let's focus on the mint mark, the letter P, which indicates the Philadelphia Mint. While most coins from Philadelphia did not have a mint mark in earlier years, by 1981 mint marks were carefully applied, and any deviation from normal placement can become extremely significant to collectors. Mint mark errors can include repunched letters, tilted or rotated mint marks, inverted mint marks, doubled mint marks, ghost images from previous punches, or even shallow or overly deep impressions. Imagine holding a 1981 p quarter where the P appears slightly offset, faintly doubled, or ghosted behind the primary mark. Collectors immediately recognize this as a rarity, and when it coincides with a bold doubled die on the obverse, the coin becomes a layered anomaly. And layered anomalies are the types of coins that can theoretically achieve the highest valuations because their uniqueness is essentially one of a kind. Another fascinating factor is the presence of die cracks. Dies naturally wear and crack after repeated use, and these fractures can appear across the obverse, cutting through Washington's profile, his neck, the rim, or the motto "I in God We Trust." Each die crack is unique and represents a frozen moment in the minting process. When combined with obverse doubling and mint mark anomalies, these layered errors become exponentially rarer than single errors alone. Imagine discovering a 1981 p quarter with a bold doubled die, a slightly offset or repunched P mint mark, and a dramatic die crack slicing through Washington's profile. This coin instantly becomes a collector's treasure because the rarity is multiplied with each additional error. Off-center strikes are another dramatic and highly sought-after anomaly. When a planchet is not perfectly centered in the striking chamber, the design is shifted toward one side, leaving a crescent of blank metal on the opposite side. Imagine a 10, 20, or even 40% off-center strike with the dates still clearly visible. Off-center coins are extremely collectible, and when combined with other anomalies such as doubling, mint mark errors, and die cracks, the coin transforms into a layered rarity. Collectors prize these coins not only for their mechanical uniqueness but also for their visual appeal, and a coin with multiple anomalies is often treated as a one-of-a-kind specimen. Broad strike errors add yet another layer of rarity. A broad strike occurs when the retaining collar is absent during striking, allowing the coin to expand outward, creating a wider, flatter appearance, often without the standard reeded edges. Broad strikes are instantly recognizable, and when combined with obverse doubling, mint mark anomalies, die cracks, and off-center strikes, the coin becomes an extraordinary layered error. Collectors understand that the more layers of error present on a coin, the rarer it is, and rarity is the key driver of extreme valuation in numismatics. Missing clad layer errors are another possibility that can dramatically increase a coin's value. Quarters are composed of a copper core with a nickel cladding, and sometimes the outer layer fails to bond properly, leaving part of the coin exposed in copper. Imagine a 1981 p quarter with a copper obverse and normal silver reverse. This two-tone appearance is immediately striking. When missing clad layers combine with doubled dies, repunched mint marks, die cracks, off-center strikes, and broad strike features, the resulting coin becomes astronomically rare. Each surviving example is highly prized because multiple errors must occur in separate production stages, making the likelihood of combination extremely small. Wrong planchet errors can also occur. A coin might be struck on a blank intended for another denomination, or even for a foreign coin. During contract minting or occasionally due to a mix-up, planchets from other sources could be introduced accidentally. Imagine a 1981 p quarter struck on such an unusual planchet with a bold double die, repunched mint mark, and die crack. Such a coin would be a layered anomaly of extraordinary rarity. Wrong planchet coins combined with other anomalies are virtually impossible to replicate, which drives their theoretical value to extreme heights. Rotated die errors provide yet another compelling layer. If the obverse and reverse dies are misaligned, the reverse can appear rotated by 30, 45, 90, or even 180 degrees relative to the obverse. Rotated die errors are visually dramatic and highly collectible on their own. When they occur alongside doubling, mint mark anomalies, die cracks, off-center strikes, missing clad layers, and broad strikes, the coin becomes nearly unique. Layered anomalies like this combine mechanical failure, human error, and historical production context, creating coins that are both visually stunning and historically significant. Die clash errors are another fascinating feature. These occur when the hammer die and anvil die strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving faint impressions of the reverse on the obverse or vice versa. These ghost images are prized by collectors because they demonstrate a moment of error frozen in time. Imagine a 1981 p quarter with a die clash, broad strike, missing clad layer, off-center strike, repunched mint mark, bold double die, and die cracks. The rarity of such a coin would be unmatched, making it potentially one of the highest valued layered anomaly coins in modern numismatics. Finally, consider the mythical mule error, the rarest and most valuable type of mint anomaly. A mule occurs when mismatched dies are paired together, perhaps combining the obverse intended for a quarter with the reverse of another denomination, or even a foreign coin. The rarity and historical significance of such a coin would make it immediately legendary. If a 1981 p quarter existed with a mule error, bold double die, repunched mint mark, die cracks, off-center strike, broad strike, missing clad layer, rotated die, and die clash, it would be considered one of the most significant coins in modern minting history, and its theoretical value could reach extreme heights. Uniqueness and layered errors together are the ultimate drivers of numismatic value. Collectors worldwide search tirelessly for these coins, examining rolls of coins, jars of forgotten change, estate collections, and long-forgotten drawers. The dream of discovering a 1981 p Liberty quarter with multiple anomalies is the ultimate adventure for collectors. Imagine a coin combining a bold double die, repunched mint mark, die cracks, off-center strike, broad strike, missing clad layer, wrong planchet, rotated die, die clash, and even a mule error. Such a layered error coin represents the pinnacle of rarity, historical significance, visual appeal, and collector obsession, and this is exactly why the theoretical value can reach $309 billion. Collectors prize uniqueness, narrative, and visual impact above all else, making layered error coins the ultimate target in numismatics.